Hey everybody, it's City Michelle here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm back again with another video. If you're new here, hey, how you doing? Welcome to my channel. Thanks for coming. Today, we will be talking about physical therapy school rejection and what did I do wrong. So we all know that, well, if you don't know, I was accepted to Washington University's physical therapy program not too long ago, but that was not how I started.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
So I actually applied to physical therapy school twice, once in 2019 and again last year in 2020. So 2019 didn't really go as planned, which is okay. It's okay. Like I said in my intro video, most of the time you don't get in your first go around because there's a 12% acceptance rate when it comes to physical therapy school. So as long as you keep going, you know, that's all that matters. So this video is gonna pretty much be about me letting you guys know my journey, my junior year of college, applying to physical therapy school the first go around, where I went wrong, and some tips I will give you guys if you're applying to physical therapy school this year. It all started junior year. I believe this was summer before junior year actually, because PTCAS, and if you don't know, PTCAS is the Physical Therapy Centralized Application Service. And PTCAS is literally your best friend when you're applying to PT school. So PTCAS opens generally beginning of July 2019, June of 2019, late June of 2019, I created my PTCAS account. So I didn't really know what to expect with PTCAS because I had never seen it before. I had never really heard about it. I just kind of did some Google searching on how to get into physical therapy school, and that was number one on the list. Not all schools use PTCAS. Some schools have their own application process, but majority of PT schools use PTCAS. It's just like a what was the name? Like the Common App. So for undergrad, you use Common App to apply to an array of schools on that one service. So PTCAS consists of 4 different sections. You have personal info, academic history, supporting information, and program materials. So those of you who haven't seen PTCAS or know nothing about PTCAS, I'll give a little brief description. So personal information, pretty much self-explanatory. You just insert all of your personal info, name, phone number, email, address, things of that nature, race, ethnicity, stuff like that. So academic history is where you insert all of the colleges that you've attended, your transcripts, and your GRE score. So I'm gonna look at my computer for this one because supporting info has a lot inside of it. So supporting info is where you put your references, observation hours, experiences, achievements, licenses, and certifications, and personal statement, which is pretty much your general essay that gets sent out to all of your schools that you apply to within PTCAS. So program materials is where all of your schools that you selected that you want to apply to will pop up, and within program materials you can click each school and see what each school is asking for. Most schools ask for probably like 2 or 3 short answer questions. Some of them have longer essay questions. It just depends on the school and what they want from you. I know most schools, if this is like your second or third go around, it's not your first time, they want you to add an extra essay explaining how you've improved your application. But if this is your first time applying to physical therapy school, then you don't have to worry about that section. Now I'm going to talk about some of the struggles that I had within each section of PTCAS. So personal information, that was, like I said before, self-explanatory, no problems there. The most problems that I had was in academic history, where you insert your college transcripts and your GRE scores. So I had a problem with the transcripts because I didn't know that you had to also include your dual enrollment transcripts from high school if you took dual enrollment classes. So in high school, I took a bio class, I took a math class, and I took an English class. So me not thinking, oh, I'm in college technically, even though I'm in high school, I didn't even think about that, honestly. I totally forgot about those transcripts. But when I went to submit my first application, PTCast came back and with an error message saying, oh, you're missing a transcript. And I'm like, I gave you my Hampton University transcript because that's where I attended, you know, that's where I went for undergrad, that's where all my classes are. And that's why all my, that's where all my classes are. But then I ended up actually calling PTCast and having them explain to me what was going on. And they told me that I needed to include my community college transcript as well. Hold on, grandmother is calling. So yeah, moral of the story is my first application got pushed back a little bit because I had to wait on my other transcript to be verified by PTCast and everything like that. Thankfully, I could send in an electronic copy for that college because I couldn't do that with my undergrad. I had to send in a physical copy. So it took a little longer, but I was able to send in an electronic copy of my transcript from the community college that I took the dual enrollment courses for. So that took about a week to get verified after everything was said and done. So between July and September is the time span of me trying to get everything together for my PTCast application. That included writing my essays for all of the colleges that I wanted to apply to. I had to get all my recommendation letters together. I had to basically fill out the entire PTCast itself, which took a very long time to do. And I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought that it would be a breeze. But even little things like the transcript entry portion. So you send in your transcript to PTCast for it to just get verified. But there's a separate section inside of academic history where you have to actually insert each class, the grade that you got in the class, the amount of credits it was, you have the name of the class. You have to put in all of that manually. And like literally imagine doing that for, at the time it was just 3 years of college, freshman through junior year, that I had to insert all those courses and the grades that I got and everything. But just with that in itself took at least an entire day to do. And if you don't want to do it in an entire day, then you drag it along. But yes, that's just some of the unexpected roadblocks that I had to overcome while filling out my application. How could I forget? And on top of that, I was taking class at the same time. So just imagine having to get all of this stuff together on top of doing classwork and homework. And oh my gosh, I was learning how to swim during this whole thing.
Hell yeah, I can swim, girl.
You okay?
Huh?
You okay? Stand up!
I was in beginner swim. So at Hampton, this is a side note. So at Hampton, for the kinesiology curriculum, you have to take intermediate swimming. So I didn't know how to swim at the time. So this was my first semester of junior year. Yeah, I was taking beginning swim. Traumatized. That's all I have to say. Traumatized. Learning how to swim at 20 years old, do not recommend it. But yeah, so just all of that, doing all of that was stressful and really overwhelming. And I would not recommend at all. But you do what you gotta do in order to get into physical therapy school. Another aspect of PTCast that was literally unexpected was the amount of money that I had to spend to just apply to school. So I'm like, okay, I know, like going into this, I know I'm gonna have to spend some money. But look, I did not expect to spend so much money. Let me just give you a little breakdown of how much I had to spend. So I applied to, I believe, 5 schools my junior year. PTCAS has a flat rate fee of $60 for each application that you send off through their application service. So we're already at $300 right there, flat rate, just, you know, sending out the apps from PTCAS. Then you have to also include transcripts. How much do your transcripts cost to send out? My transcripts were $10 a piece, I believe. And you don't have to send your transcripts to each school. You just have to send them to PTCAS. But some schools, I learned this past year, that you do have to send off some transcripts to certain schools. But that's rare. But you have to factor in the transcript cost. You have to factor in the PTCAS application flat rate. And then on top of that, some of these PT schools have additional supplemental application fees that you have to pay as well. So I'm gonna calculate how much I spent my first year applying to PT school. Hold on.
2 hours later.
Okay, so since when you apply to PT school for a second time around, they erase all of the schools that you applied to and all the money that you spent. So I don't have an exact cost of how much I spent my junior year. Okay, hey guys, so sorry if this clip looks a little different. I'm recording on my phone because my camera is asleep right now. But yeah, so I was just watching the video again, and I forgot to mention, when it came to cost of applying to PT school, I forgot that the GRE is a thing as well. And the GRE is $27 to send off, and you have to send that off to each school that you apply to. So just factor that into the amount that I give you for this next clip, okay? But I know it was around $500 to $600. $500 to $600 just to apply to physical therapy school. Because I remember I applied to University of Illinois in Chicago, and their supplemental application fee was $70. So yeah, that's just like a general, you know, idea of how much you are gonna spend if you plan on applying to multiple physical therapy schools. So these are the 5 schools that I applied to my junior year, my first go around applying to PT school. I applied to Drexel University in Philadelphia, Belmont University in Tennessee, I believe, University of North Texas, obviously in Texas, and University of South Florida, which is in Tallahassee, I believe. So Drexel was my first school that I actually got to send off my first application to, and that ended up being, after all of that, it ended up being around late September that I sent off my first application. I actually was offered an interview with them. So we're gonna fast forward to me being waitlisted at Drexel University and University of South Florida. University of South Florida didn't interview. Some of these programs don't interview. They kind of just base it off of your application. So University of South Florida didn't interview me, but they put me on the wait list. Everyone else denied. Like, it was literally like letter after letter, like, I'm sorry to inform you. It kind of got discouraging after a while. And I think by March, I had to chalk it up to the game at that point. By March, like, if I hadn't heard anything, then I felt like, okay, I need a plan B. I know I should have had a plan B before plan A didn't work out, but I just figured, okay, I'm just gonna take a gap year and improve myself, improve my application. One thing I forgot to mention was the GRE. I started the application process without taking my GRE. I took my GRE in late July of 2019. I'm going to share all of my credentials, both junior year and senior year, in another video, just because I want to that you guys see the difference between my junior year and my senior year credentials when it came to applying to physical therapy school. So, tips. This is what you're here for. So my tips for you, I have 5 tips for you guys, for all my pre-PT people out there. Here are the tips that I advise that you follow. Tip number 1, start your process early. Start it as early as you possibly can. I'm talking before PTCAS even opens up. Start your process early because it's gonna help you in the long run. You're gonna save so much stress and anxiety if you just start early. So I'm talking, you can get started on your recommendation letters. You can start some essays, even though you don't generally know what essay question they're gonna ask. You should just have some essays in your back pocket because you may be able to use those essays. Starting the application early also helps with actually sending out your applications. The earlier you send out your applications, I feel like the better chance that you'll get into one of the programs. If you apply late, 9 times out of 10, they've already started to pick certain applicants for their upcoming class. So you don't want to be in that last selection of people or automatically put onto the wait list because you've waited too long to actually apply. And I actually think that's what happened with me with Drexel. I ended up applying, I believe it was late September, early November. And by that time, they probably had majority of their class filled already, and they were just looking for people to put on the wait list. Although they were still giving out interviews because they do have an interview process, I was told that I was in the last round of interviews for their program, which was in early December. Tip number 2, make sure you have all of your transcripts together. I'm talking community college, undergrad. If you went to 3 different undergrads, make sure you get all of those transcripts and have them sent to PTCAS to get verified, and also insert all of those classes within PTCAS. Just make sure, even if you took them in high school, it does not matter. If you're going to use them to go towards your undergrad degree, you need to make sure to send in those transcripts as well. So tip number 3. I didn't really talk about this earlier in my video, but make sure to have someone read your essays once you complete them. You want that extra feedback or those extra eyes to read your work because we tend to read our work how we want it to sound because that's how we speak, that's how we write, we know how we write. But from another person's perspective, they may catch something that we didn't catch because we're just pretty much, when we read, we pretty much skim our own writing, excuse me. So make sure to have someone review it for you and give you some feedback on where you should improve, what you should add, what you should omit, just to make, it couldn't hurt. Tip number 4, have a list already made of what PT schools that you want to apply for before you start applying to them. This is something that I didn't do. Well, that's a lie. I kind of did it, but not really. So I actually have a list of which PT schools you would like to apply for because these schools already list out their criteria for actually applying when it comes to GPA, GRE scores, because some of these schools do have a minimum GRE score, but I'm going to talk about that later in another video. I'm going to have a separate GRE talk with you guys because it's not what it seems. But yes, make sure to just have that list down so you're ready. And some schools actually post their questions, their essay questions that they're going to ask you once PTCAS opens, so you can get started on those essays early and you'll have them done. And this also helps when you have other things going on like school or work, and when you don't really have time to actually sit down and put all your focus into applying to PT school. Tip number 5, take it step by step. I said this in my intro because I'm really passionate about this. Take it step by step. because you will get overwhelmed if you try and think about transcripts to the essays to, oh my god, my recommender hasn't inserted my recommendation letter yet and it is due next week. I have to take a swim final. I have to do this, I have to do that. Take it step by step so that you can have everything in order and organized when it's neat and organized, and you can see what you need to do, when you need to do it, and why you need to do it. Then the process is going to go by so much smoother and so much easier. And I'm just really avid about not being stressed because I'm always stressed. And that's not okay. It's not good for your health, guys. But yes, take baby steps. Take baby steps if you need to, but if not, if that's not how you operate, then that's okay. But I'm telling you guys what helped for me the second go around, which will also be in another video. That's what helped me in the second go around. Just taking it step by step and seeing what I needed to get done. So yeah. Hey, so I'm back again. I actually have one more tip for you guys. So tip number 6 is save your money. Like I said earlier in the video, applying to physical therapy school is really expensive, and that really caught me by surprise the first go around. I was not expecting that at all. Well, I was expecting it, but not as much. So tip number 6 is save your coins because it's expensive. Okay, all right. So I want to thank you guys for watching my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you can benefit from the tips and my story that I shared with you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on those post notifications so that you're notified whenever I post a new video, okay? And please stay tuned for my next post where I share my secrets on how I went from 0 acceptances to being accepted into the #1 physical therapy school in the country, Washington University in St. Louis. Okay guys, be safe, be well, stay out those streets because Corona is out there. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys later.